uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Man, that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
So what up, everybody? WCS is back on the boulevard once again. First in the building, big blunts and boxing on deck. Salute to you, brother. Big shout out to everyone, to the supporters. Different type of live today, only because there's been some conversations behind the scene, with some people from my past that reached out to me about some things that that's pretty wild, you know what I'm saying? But big shout out to the supporters of WCS. I've been doing a little bit of topics outside of boxing, just waiting for some, refreshment, return back to the sport. You know what I'm saying? In the meanwhile, I'm not done talking about boxing. I just decided to talk about some other events, right? So, as I told you before, I was heavy into motorcycles right in high school. And it's just something crazy is that growing up in the South, learning how to ride bikes in a straight line was all that you could be taught. That's how I learned. And ride bikes in a straight line. That's what you need to know. Learn how to run the throttle, and then you learn how to do a burnout, rolling burnout, and then you know how to, jump out the hole, get the whole, just a whole lot of stuff, explode out without spinning out. A whole lot of stuff you learn about inline street racing. All right. But then you learn something that I don't know. If nobody never taught it to you like that, you kind of say, well, it was something that you weren't afraid to do and you picked it up as you went along. For me, that was knee dragging. At one point in time, especially in the military where I was the only brother that was knee dragging. I was the only black rider that was knee dragging. And just to give a little history about that, it all started in a parking lot. And, the whole sequence was to get lower and lower on the bike in the figure eight. Lower and lower on the bike in the figure eight. Just continue to get lower and lower on the bike in the figure eight, until you're able to touch your knee down. Once you touch your knee, then you learn how to gradually keep your knee on the ground with the bike being lower, and you're able to get through turns a lot quicker. Okay, when it comes to gauging the street, you have increased radius that gives you a long turn, or you have decreased radius, short U-type turns, right? A lot depends on your entry speed into those turns, whether you live or die. Real talk. A lot depends on your entry speed. Entry speed into a race is everything. It can be for a couple of hundred, or it can be for several thousand. Your entry speed out the hole into a race inline can mean everything, right? How quick you get off the throttle, how you feather the clutch, and everything. It's a lot that goes into that detail. But going into a turn, a lot more is taken in consideration, because if you're racing in line, you can always just roll off the throttle. You know what I'm saying? That's if you have a safe space. You know, you're not doing it on the street with a lot of traffic or nothing like that. You have a lot of safe space to decrease your speed. When you're in a turn, you have to look way ahead. If you don't know your street, you don't know the terrain, you don't know the layout, you have to look way ahead, engage blindly without entry. And then with experience, you have to go in there a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You have to go into that curve a certain way with a certain type of speed that's comfortable to you. Else it could be life or death. The reason why I'm using life or death in terms because a lot of people that I know still to this day, over 20, that I know there's lost their life on the roadway, believing that, you know, all roads were the same, underestimate the turns and all that. You know, it just comes down to not just heart, but with technique. You know what I'm saying? You got to have confidence. You got to have heart. But those turns on a motorcycle, when it comes to knee dragging, is a life or death moment. Those life or death moments can be you running in the back of a car, you sliding off the roadway down a cliff, or you sliding off the roadway into the path of another vehicle. Your bike high side and kicking you off the bike and throwing you into traffic or whatever, or you land it down and your bike rolling over with your bike, and you can get killed by your own bike landing on you. You know, it could break your neck, anything else. It's just many ways that it's dangerous when you're trying to set up for a curve that's blind to your visual. So when you're on the street running and you're curve racing, right? This doesn't happen often because a lot of individuals don't mess with it. I don't care how fast you run on the straights. I don't care how fast you run on the straights. When you come to that curve right there and them tail lights blow up, that's when I go right around you and I'm on the throttle. You go out wide, you go wide and then dip in. Wide entry and then slide in, throttle, and ease out for your exit. Now that's easier said than done, but it takes time and time again to practice and practice and practice. The thing I loved about turn dragging is it gives you a different momentum when, it gives you a different visual when your knee is on the ground and you're tucked down next to that gas tank and you're looking through the turn and you're just that close to the street and you got all this power, you know what I'm saying, that you control and you in connection with the street, not just the tires, but your knee is dragging. You can feel the street with the knee pucks. And then at night, if you put the cans on, the cans is smashing a soda can, wrapping it up with duct tape, old school style. Or you can get some custom ones and you go at night and you can drag the turn and the sparks coming up, from your knee. I mean, some of the most incredible stuff, right? The Exo Factory on deck. What's good? Mr. Paz, what's good? Salute to everybody in the building. So somehow, some way, this guy from the South, me, somehow picked up knee dragging, bro. It was wild. I was able to pick this up fairly quickly. And then I said, I'm gonna start, practicing because I didn't see a lot of riders doing it. I saw some white guys do it. I saw it was maybe 3 Air Force guys that knew how to do it very well, and they was much lighter than I was, right? But I didn't see any brothers doing it. I didn't see any black riders doing this. Now it was black riders that was out here, but it wasn't black riders that was knee dragging. So what I decided to do, right? When I went to Virginia early on, I was too busy to do too much of anything. I still knew how to ride bikes. It used to be dudes around me that had motorcycles and never knew I ride because I never told them I just had too much to do. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't gonna get on no bike. I wasn't gonna be out there, you know what I'm saying, speeding and riding somebody else's equipment. Not until I got overseas that I really start to venture out into those streets and start getting deep into the game. And that's when I start when I tell people I was riding by myself during the daytime and at night, I would run into these groups of Japanese riders, right? So this is one of the brothers who was married to a Japanese, Ron, who's married to a Japanese lady over there in Japan. One of the only brothers I seen that rode with the Japanese, right? But he wouldn't knee drag. He wasn't knee dragging. You know, he was just riding with him. He had a very nice bike, man, custom out to the T, fast as on the what. And he used to see me in passing because I say, dang, that looked like an American, you know, with this group of Japanese. So he said he used to see me. So one time we was up north in Japan, and I was over there drinking over in Japan. It's like a soda, but it's hard to explain. They got all different types of drinks out there. So I just up there sipping. He came over. He said, "What's up, man?" He said, "Who you riding with?" I say, "Man, I just ride by myself. I'm out here trying to practice the turns and all that." I say, "Yeah, man. You was up here before, and we was riding behind you." And he said, "You're not. You know, you're not slow at all. You know, it's surprising to see you out here doing this by yourself because usually, you know, military they out here with somebody." I said, "Yeah, I'm just out here practicing." So he said, okay. He let it go. He said, "All right, man, see you next time." So sooner or later, some weeks passed by. I seen them again. I seen his group again. And we're headed up north. North is where it gets totally dangerous. It's been so many Americans lose their life over there in Japan off those cliffs into the guardrail, all that. Ran over by Japanese. I'm just telling you what it is. There's been a lot of Americans who lost their life overseas going up. And I got a story of a brother who almost lost his life. And if he was on here, you know, whether he chose to tell the truth or not, he'll let you know that I warned him. I warned him. The guilt is not on me. I warned him. But I was riding up here and this group of Japanese, Yutaki, he asked me, he said, "You want to ride in the group?" I say, "I ride in the back." Out of courtesy, I said, "I ride in the back because I know, you know, Japanese are fast." He said, "Okay, ride in the back. All right, just keep up." So this time it was like 7 Japanese. I said, "All right, cool. This is my opportunity." So I was good. I learned a lot. I understood that the roads over there in Japan was made of coral and cement. So it was a little bit slipperier than American pavement. And also, the tires that I had on my motorcycle were very soft compound GP racing tires. I set my bike up for the roadway, for my tires to be sticky. I readjusted my suspension to my weight. I had front and rear custom suspension. Not even talking about performance. Performance is what it was. I had full exhaust on there. I had my foot pegs set at a height from my height, you know, so I could get down because you can't have your foot pegs set too high. It'll be uncomfortable to your knee, especially when you're riding and then you sliding from side to side on your moto, right? So I get behind these Japanese, they take off, boom. And it's a certain way you got to ride behind somebody. The good thing, you don't have to worry about them braking. They're not going to brake. When you're riding in a fast group, they're not going to brake. So you get to go as fast as you want to be on the straights, on the curves, all that. So they took off on me. Boom. We out. And I'm on a big ass 1100. Now I'm on a Jixter 1100 Suzuki. I named my baby Sukina. And, you know, I love Suzuki. I love Suzuki. I was on Suzuki from the carb days to the fuel injection. Real talk. I used to work on my own bike a lot of times. I learned how to jet my own bike, all that. So we take off. Boom. Get up out of there. And they go into the first turn. Not so bad, not so bad. And then we get into a part of the area up north that is really going to get very twisty. So now I'm really about to test my speed in the turn. And what I found out is that I didn't have too much of a fear like a lot of Americans did in turn. My breathing was good and everything else, and I was just looking through the turn. It just boom. I kind of heard the exhaust. I seen the tire in front of me, but it was hardly any brake lights at all. It was hardly any brake lights for these guys. So I started to get faster and faster. As more and more I rode these guys faster and faster, to the point where they allowed me to ride in the middle of the pack. They allowed me to ride in the middle of a pack. Is unheard of back then from the Japanese. They say, "Oh, we want you to ride in the middle of the pack. Let's see, how fast you are in the middle of the pack." And the middle of the pack was only 3 bikes back from the two fastest guys that was in the group. And at that point in time, I got my full leathers on and everything. I said, "Cool." And I already had my pucks on. I ain't worrying about nothing except living. So we get up out, they take off. I mean, we head in the middle of the pack is much faster than being in the back. So I get into my rhythm. Boom, we riding. And I'm like, damn, we rolling. We moving quite fast, man. But I'm working on technique. I'm working on breathing. I can feel my core. The good thing about it, I had a strong core. And I control my breathing along with the throttle. There's so much going on now. Touching the clutch, rolling, just basically stand in tune with your bike. Stand in tune with the speed. Stand in tune with the gears of the bike. So I get up in there and we going curve for curve, and I'm really learning. I'm following their line and I'm dipping in. When they dipping in, it's all in unison. All in unison. They accelerate, you should be already accelerating because these guys aren't braking. And then you got guys behind you too. So you shouldn't be braking. You should just go in with an entry speed that's comfortable. But if you do brake, you tap, and then you go into the hot. You go into the curve hot and accelerate out, right? So more and more, I started doing this. It was a time that they asked me to lead. Now, lead to me is where people die. When you are in the lead, you have to really visualize the entire front space that you have. You are setting up for each turn. There's nobody to guide you, none of that. And this is where it became real for me, when I felt that I was comfortable riding in the group, but I'm with Japanese and one other American. And the other American, he wasn't there all the time. I was running to these guys, just by chance after a while, until I actually started being able to call them up. So when they asked me to lead from the front, I was very hesitant. I say, wow, over here in Japan, these cars be pulling out, slow. You can come around a turn and a truck be sitting right there in the roadway. These Japanese would just be whipping around these freaking vehicles and gone. So I picked up that same mentality. If I came up on something, I said, if I slow up, I'm going to give them time to make a decision. So everybody just, boom, 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 boom. They roll on the throttle. So I said, all right, cool. I'm not going to lie. I felt some type of way, leading with a group this fast. And I really thought things was going to go a different way. I'm not going to lie. I knew I was fast enough, but the leader pack of guys, I'm talking about, these guys wasn't young guys either. These was some older guys have been riding for years, and they was fast. Someone used to ride on the track, all that, right? I get up there and take off, man, and I really learned a lot by leading. I think I kind of rolled slower. They told, the guy behind me said I rolled slower than he would if he was leading. And he can understand that because it was my first time leading the pack. And you have to make all the gauges. You have to make all the decisions and the turns and stuff like that. The whole entire pack is dependent on you. So as more and more of I start to lead, I start getting faster and faster and faster, right? To the point where word was getting back that some Americans were seeing my bike in a group of these Japanese, because on the weekend the Americans go riding too, and they would ride all the way up there, and it's just one stopping point when you get up north where the cliffs are and you can see out into the ocean and everything. It'd be Americans up there too. So when I started pulling up to this rest spot, I'm with this group of Japanese that started like 7, 5, 7, 10, you know what I'm saying, 15. It's a long group of Japanese, and it's only 2 blacks in that group. So I'm seeing other Americans up there, and then somebody's going to recognize you, right? So I remember one time I had my helmet on, I was over there drinking, a soda or whatever with them. An American came over there and said, "Hey, you work on so-and-so base?" I said, yeah. He said, "What you up to?" "Nothing." I said, "I'm chilling," because the crazy part about being a rider on base is that you have your own people tell on you. I'm not talking about black. I'm just talking about veterans in general, because people be riding motorcycles, but they just didn't know how to ride motorcycles, right? They'd go out here and do stupid stuff, and every time you turn around, an American being hurt and stuff. So I shied away from really communicating with Americans when I was out on the street, especially if I didn't know you. If somebody came up to me and said, "Hey man, I saw you so and so," I said, "Okay, that's what's up. Oh man, I like what you got on your bike. Maybe you can, come over there. And, I'm trying to see what I want. Okay, I'll help you out when I get back to the rear." The rear was when we get all the way back near the bases. You know what I'm saying? All the way back to the bases. Said, well, and then you'll see them over and over, and they'll say, "Hey, can we ride back?" "No, y'all can't ride back with us. Y'all can't ride back." If I was, by myself, I'll say, "Okay, go ahead. I'll be back here, but I'll follow you." I had no problem with that. But if I was out with the Japanese, right, it was no including nobody. They didn't play that. There was no way, no how. They didn't play that. So you'll start to see more and more people that you knew just in passing, and they start to recognize your bike. They start to recognize who you are and what your outfit looked like and all that. So I used to go to South Korea and have my motorcycle leathers made custom. So I had a pair of Fulls, Lucky Strike, like the ones you see in the picture. And then I had another pair that was, let me see, where's my other picture at? I had another pair, which was a top and a bottom separately, where I can just wear my top if I wanted to. Okay, this is it right here. It was a black and gray that matched my Gixxer 1000. So this top right here was half, and you can see it has all the rib protectors in there, chest protectors and all that. And this was the black and gray, and it said Suzuki across the front. It had all the elbow protectors that I can put in there and all that. But this was just a leisure day out. But I had the bottoms to go with that, and I used to rock Alpine Stars riding boots. I used to love those boots. Very comfortable boots. But real talk, back to going out. These Americans will see you, and then they will get familiarized. They'll try to get familiarized with you, right? So boom, go back. It's a nice time, learning. I could have stayed over Japan based off the strength of gaining the trust of these Japanese. I could have stayed over there, bro. But I wasn't gonna stay over there and what? Work at a motorcycle shop? No, you know what I'm saying? I got a picture. I need to find my picture, bro. It's gonna blow your mind. Look, it's gonna blow your mind. I have a picture. I need to find that joint. First of all, I have a picture that we all took on this this rock incline in Japan. And it's one of the biggest Japanese groups I rode in. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's me and there's one other American, my boy Ron, in the entire group. Like, we're talking about, I rode with these guys so much. They taught me so much, man, that, I was like, man, I got to go back over there. If I leave on this, I gotta do what I gotta do, and I gotta go back over there because we was that close, man. They used to invite me over to the crib, to the barbecues, and like it was getting wild. They said, "Oh man, you good people." I used to go in there and get my parts discounted, all that, dog. Like I had one of the baddest bikes over there, and I can ride that. I can ride that joint too. So so it got to a point where I learned how to be very, very proficient to the point where I can run the streets. When I came back to the States, I can run the streets for money in a different type of race, point A to B and back, right? That's a much tougher race than just the inline race. You go in straight line across the finish. No, it's you go all the way to this point up here, and then you turn around and you come back. Within that, you got turns, of course, and everything else. All right. So let me finish up with the first part of Japan. So what I was learning over in Japan is how to operate my bike, how to become one with my bike. So much to the fact where I started not to hear my bike, man. I started just to see the turns in slow freaking motion. This ain't the first time that I've said this. I started to see the turns in slow motion because your body go through a phase of adrenaline, right? It's wild. I ain't gonna lie, it's wild. Like when you get locked in and your body continue to do something over and over again, and your adrenaline levels rise, right? And your body temperature and your core is tight. Your body goes through this transition where you're so tuned in and focused at the danger that lies ahead when you're going through these turns, that something goes on psychologically that you can see the turns coming up. You're moving. Some of these turns you're going in at 100 easy. You're going these turns, but yet it seems like you just left, right. You just going in slow motion. You can see everything. It's tunnel vision. Boom. You can't hear your bike. You just accelerating, braking, pop, pop, and then going in hot. You can barely hear the damn throttle. I mean, the engine of your bike, all that. It's just amazing, right? So, I used to be outside where I stayed at. I'd be working on my bike. I put it up on a swing stand, and I'll be working on some stuff, right? And then Americans be riding by on base, and they'll come over there. Hey, man, let me check out your bike, this, that, and the other. And in this picture, my bike don't look like much, but it's set up for the curves. You know what I'm saying? As you get real close up on it, it wasn't too much custom except the frame being chromed out, polished. That's about it. Chrome holds more weight. I had custom rotors for braking. I had custom brakes, for braking, all that. So it got to a point where certain Americans was coming by to say, "Hey, Scotty, you want to ride up this place?" I said, No, I don't want to ride. So I kind of put this story out there because it stuck with me because people start getting hurt, right? This is not just in Japan. This is in the States too, right? So I say, "Hey, Scotty, you want to go up here? We just riding all the way." I say, "No, I don't want to go riding all the way up there because every time it happened, you have Americans just not following safety rules, and they start hitting that throttle, and they start racing each other, and then all of a sudden you got a curve up in front of you. There's no rhythm, there's no organization, there's no ranks. All of you all is riding in tandem, in twos, and you can't ride in twos like that. Going into those dangerous curves, you will lose your life." And that's what was going on. They was losing their life once they get past a certain point up north where it's just open road, so to speak. They was losing their life, running in the mountains, running off the cliffs, hitting the brakes, the rear brakes, not knowing how to brake properly. If you're going into a type of situation with a curve surprises you, so to speak, they was pretty much slamming on that rear brake, sliding out, bike flipping over. They flipping over. Some of them was getting hit by cars. Some of them was freaking sliding off the roadway down a ravine. It was all bad, y'all. It was all bad. But I stayed away from that because what can happen is let's just say the military, the Corps. All right. So if you're riding with a particular group of cyclists and one of them die, at that time I consider it to be hazing, because what the Corps would do was pretty much try to make an example out of everybody. Ah, you wasn't taking care of you didn't have a six, you didn't do this. I'm like, what? Well, how are you putting? I start to see people get in trouble and get blamed for riding in groups, and somebody would wreck, and it was deemed that they were speeding, right? They was going too fast to safely make the turn or safely be on the roadway. And man, the motorcycles that were the service members that was riding with them would get in trouble. They would get in trouble. They would get paperwork, dog. I'm not lying. They would get paperwork. I say, man, this is that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Because now you have individuals that really can't ride with their boy unless it's some safety there, unless it's some maturity there or whatever, right? So I used to have cats, see me working on my bike from the street. They'll come over there and say, hey man, so-and-so coming up, can you ride with us? And by this time word had got out that, yeah, they see me riding out there with Japanese, and I don't really F with Americans. And that wasn't the case. I just didn't want to be responsible for any Americans passing, a dime, anything, right? And I held true to this. This kept me safe for a long time. This kept me safe within myself. And I used to tell these Americans, right? The reason why I call them Americans, I'm talking about being overseas, right? I used to tell these Americans, because not all of them were service members. Some of them were civilians over there too. I said, I pick and choose a good day. I ride in the back. No, we want you to teach us, man. From what we hear, you ride with the Japanese. In order for you to ride with this, man, they be doing this, and this. We seen you at this particular site up at Hato Point, and you was knee dragging. You never admit anything to these Americans, because they would go back and tell somebody else that would tell somebody else that when that next person is told, they might be a senior enlisted or officer, and they say, oh, they out there reckless driving. So then you possibly have NCIS or somebody higher enlisted going up there to these places trying to see if there's Americans up here reckless driving, when it's not reckless. If you know what you're doing, it's not reckless, bro. But that was going on because they was always trying to minimalize the amount of deaths that was going on with Americans over there losing their life on motorcycles. They tried their best to try to compress it, right? So you have people say, hey, is there any way you can teach? No, I can't teach you nothing. Like you have to learn just like I did, learn in the parking lot. That's what I used to say, learn in the parking lot. After you be able to do a figure eight, boom, 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 get used to the rhythm. I mean, just get used to dragging with the throttle up and the throttle down on the inside, and get used to that, because the easiest way to knee drag is with the throttle and the up, on the outside. That means you're dragging your left knee. Okay. Some people find it more difficult. I don't, to have your throttle on the inside when you're dragging knee on the inside with the right, you know what I'm saying? And to be able to control, still the same, whatever. But it got down to a point where I finally had this person who was a high rank ask me, when I was outside and I was doing some stuff to my bike, you get that car that pull up and you say, man, I don't know this person. Like, this can't be good. Somebody must have died again. They're going to ask you, do you know the person? So this guy comes up to me. He said, what's up, man? Nice bike. I was like, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you. He said, hey, it looked like you ride, looking for looking the way your bike is. It looked like you ride. Do you go riding often? I said, first of all, like, what is this about? Who are you? Like, what's going on? Because I just wanted to know. I mean, I just wanted to, me and my people, my unit, we was gonna try to find out a time to ride up north with somebody who got some experience. I say, not me. I don't have experience. And then they said, well, I was told you did have experience. I say, I got experience to a point. I'm able to operate my bike in a safe fashion. And now I start being petty with him. I was able to operate my motorcycle in a safe fashion and get from point A to B. Yeah, but I don't go too far up. I say, who are these people? Where y'all work at? Oh, we work here. What's your rank? So this dude that was talking to me was an 03, right? I said, a captain coming over here to talk to me. Okay. I said, okay. And they tried to do Operation Crack a Bike. You know what I'm saying? So I said, I'll let you know. You know what I'm saying? But no. So around the base, my name was getting around as far as, people who was coming on the island to learn how to ride a bike. And they try to nominate me as a motorcycle safety instructor because I can ride, right? And I say, oh my God, they trying to do it subliminally. Like they trying to lock a brother down by making me the safety course, person. So I can't be out here riding with these people. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. I picked it up right away. I said, this ain't a privilege. They trying to make me the motorcycle safety instructor. This ain't a privilege. This is restriction. This is pretty much saying, oh, now you can't be out there doing what you're doing. Now you can't. But I turned down the job. I said, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. I don't want that responsibility. I can't do it. So as time went on, I continued to ride, find out new places, ride. And then it got to a point where I had these two other Marines get with me. It was like late evening. They got with me to go on a ride. This was a night ride. I started doing a lot of night riding to improve my speed, right? So this guy right here, this is one of the only pictures I have of my guy. Very good dude. But he's one of the only Americans really that I roll curves with. The white guy that's on the K12 Kawasaki back there. This is one of the only pictures I got. He stayed on the same base. But the reason why he was able to start riding with me, because he could actually ride. He weighed way less than I did. And he could ride. So he would say, okay, hey, man, I saw you out a couple of times, man. I go riding with you at night. I'm just trying to get fast. I heard you get faster riding at night. I said, but it's super dangerous, bro. He said, all right, cool. So we start riding at night. He started getting faster and faster and faster. So I was saying to myself, okay, man, that takes some of the heat off me because this dude's learning how to ride. So I kind of didn't ride with him during the daytime, but I link up with him when we go on a night ride. And sometimes we link up with the Japanese on the night ride and we go riding. But me and him had two different jobs and he went on deployments. So it wasn't like we had a consistent riding schedule. But my name over there was in the street so much. It was almost like legendary status, man. Like it was like, hey, man, you have these Air Force, Navy dudes that, Americans, when they come overseas, all they want to do is get a motorcycle. So my name was out there so much to the point where people were saying, hey, over here, you ride mostly curves. From what I hear, one of the fastest guys and the only black we know, that ride over here, he can drag knee. And he's like 230 some pounds. I mean, 215 at the time, 215 pounds, something like that. But he can drag knee and his bike is fast. He pretty much works on his own bike. And this was floating all around the base, man. This was getting all around the base. I mean, people was like coming up to me still, asking me stuff. They still trying to get me to be an instructor. I say, what I know on the street, I can't teach you on base. And once again, I didn't want to be locked in or locked down over there. So I continued to make minor adjustments to my bike. It got to a point when I ride my bike to work and park it. I come out there, getting ready to leave. There'll be people out there looking at the bike, other Marines looking at the bike and say, hey, man, we plan to ride. Can we? I said, I can't do it, bro. I don't ride with people like that. I don't. And it got to a point where people thought I was being an asshole instead. I said, no, I'm not being nothing. I'm just letting you know that I don't ride with a group of Americans. And then I thought to myself, I said, maybe I should. Maybe I should. Because now it's getting to the point where they thinking I got too much to hide. I don't want to ride with Americans because I got too much to hide. So I said, maybe I should pop the cherry a little bit and ride with a group of Americans during the day and be passive aggressive. Make it seem like I'm going on a ride to get down, but really I'm just going to chill in the back. So I did it. I got with a group. They was all happy. Oh, man, we got so-and-so with us. Yeah. So they got to a certain point by Hansen. It's Hansen and then Schwab is the last base before things get very wicked. Real talk. It gets so wicked that it's a straightaway that's right outside Schwab, past Schwab, that you can hit some really good speed. I mean, really good speed with. And then you have to be able to slow it down and get ready for that first tombstone. You can pick up some good speed, but you got to get ready for that first turn. So I go ride with these people. I'm chilling in the back. Not to mention, right? It was this brother who I had turned down riding with forever. His wife, I didn't want to deal with her. I did not want to deal with her at all, bro. I finally, when they said they was getting a ride, I said, all right, cool. He said, man, let me go. I said, I'm not in charge of this group. You can ride. This was the day that I rode in the back. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? I see them acting the fool up there. I ain't telling nobody nothing. Then we get up to the stop point, the rest area. They say, hey, man, you didn't really ride. I want that, see, can you kind of give us a grade on how we did in the turns and stuff like that? They wanted to stop at this one point where we used to, they found out one of the points I used to go to where you knee drag up and down the mountains. They have these sharp turns. And you can kill yourself over there. Now they got guardrails. You can kill yourself over there. Real talk. They wanted to go over there, and I said, I'm not going up. I'm not making that left. I knew they made that left. Now I have to wait on the side of the road while they roll up and down, knee dragging. Trying to knee drag, rather, right? So I said, no, I ain't gonna do that. So we made it all up to the rest point. We on our way back. So I said, hey, I'm just letting you know, I'm going to roll out. Once we get up there, I'm not gonna be in the back this time. I'm bouncing. Boom. I told that other brother that was asking me questions about riding all the time. He rolled the ride and say, listen, I know you was on the throttle coming up here. You need to chill on the way back. Please maintain, safety as much as you can, because this is where bad things happen, rolling back to the rear, because you got uncomfortable. You got your adrenaline. You warmed up. You experiencing the heat. You know what I'm saying? You got everything. You know what I'm saying? You got the taste for what you think you know. You got the taste for it now. You rolled all the way up here. You made it. You feeling good. All right. I take off with two other people. Boom, we gone. So I'm so far ahead of these people that I don't hit bikes. We gone. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna be the more experienced rider and wait for these cats to catch up. It never came. Come to find out, the dude that was begging me, the brother who I didn't want to deal with, he crashed bad. Almost lost his life that day. Crashed real bad. Almost, his injuries almost got him kicked out the Corps. Crashed really, really bad. I was the only one out of that group to go to the hospital and check him out. His wife tried to, lay into me. I said, that ain't happening. I said, that ain't happening. You ain't questioning me. Your husband came over here and I told him several times I didn't want to ride with him. He was too inexperienced. I said, but at least I'm at the hospital. How is he doing? And at that time, his head is swelled up, and his helmet. It was real bad. He had broke his arm real bad, all that, right? That wasn't my guilt because I explained to him. I looked out for him before I left. And I told him, but he was up there trying to run. And that's exactly what I was talking about. Another example is when these other, Marines was headed up there. I talk about this all the time. It seems like their family was in slow motion. I was about to go riding, and they wanted me to go riding up north with them to this vacation spot. I said, no, I don't want to do it because this guy came up there with his wife. Both of them ride bikes. They was inexperienced knuckleheads. And then the guy that stayed in my building, me and him, it's almost like the YTC. You know what I'm saying? People dislike you for the wrong reasons. It don't have nothing to do with personal. You know what I'm saying? This dude didn't like because I didn't want to ride with him, right? I said, get used to your bike, bro. Go to that parking lot with a motorcycle safety course and get used to your bike. You just got your bike. He wanted to ride. They followed the wives left. Both of the wives, boom. It was like 3 wives. They left with the kids going up to the vacation spot, and they left on the bikes. He crashed. He ran, got hit, lost control of the bike in the curve, got ran over by a car twice, dead. You know what I'm saying? I still remember talking to him before he went on that ride. And there's many other cases over there that I experienced. So when I got back to the States, I took what I knew in Japan and I found the nearest spot on where they can knee drag at, because I wanted to drag on American pavement. You know what I'm saying? So I started finding these spots and practicing and everything. And I found out that the tires I had on there, the racing compound tires, man, they stuck like a champ. And they got sticky real quick. I was like, wow, man, I'm holding really nice. In Japan, I got used to sliding in the corner on the throttle. Not danger wise, but that's what I learned. You can feel the tire spinning in the turn. You still got grip and traction, but it happened a lot over there in Japan. Over here in the States, your shit stick. You stick. So once I got over here, same thing. People's like, hey man, you want to go ride? I said, well, y'all go ride. Well, we going up here. And I'm gonna be nice because I know some of those guys that was with me that day freaking tune into the channel sometime. But I used to go this one area where I was the only black over there, bro. This was an area where they had this loop that had 3 curves to knee drag in. You can go either clockwise or counterclockwise. And I pulled up on this monster. And then, the white guys were looking at me like, what is he doing over here? Like, real talk. It's like a black dude pulling up in the wrong neighborhood. And it's hardly no blacks ever that stay over there unless you're working us out. Like, they looked at me, they said, what this dude doing over here? So I pulled up, I took my helmet off, I was just watching. They was dragging all that. So I said, all right, let's get it. I went out there, took my bike out there, came around the first turn, boom, leaned in, came in hot, and boom, dipped out, dipped back in, hit that first turn again, hit the second turn, went around, I say about 5 rotations, pulled off, took off the helmet. Them same dudes. Hey man, that's pretty cool, dog. You're the first black guy I ever seen drag me. I was like, where did you learn how to do that? I said, what did y'all learn how to do it? It's shit. The same place y'all learn how to do it. Well, I was riding dirt bikes when I was 8 years old and this, that, and the other. I say, okay, I can see what you're talking about, but I said, I just learned this and this, that, and the other. We started talking and all that, right? But it was funny because it was a group of brothers that wanted to go riding one day. And I knew they was inline type dudes, but they more so wanted to go ride with me because I guess the way my bike looked or whatever, because I was able to bring my bike back from Japan over here. I'm not gonna tell you how I did, but I was able to bring my bike over from Japan. And the Japanese style Gixxer 1000s was faster than American Gixxer 1000s. So when we finally went on a ride, I said, "Hey, peep this out. How far y'all riding?" So we just went for a ride, straight line all the way up. I really didn't put on the leathers. We was just going back and forth, roll-ons and all that boring stuff, roll-ons, this, that, and the other. I said, okay, cool. Got back, everything was safe, boom, boom, boom. So I went back to my normal routine and went back over to my area, my spot. And I was building up some, I was meeting some people. I was like, dang, you know what I'm saying? And these was Americans, but a lot of these were civilians. They weren't military. They was over there just having fun, dragging me. And all of a sudden, those guys, right, that I went and I was doing roll-ons with and stuff like that, they pulled up. When I was en route one time, they said, where you headed? I said, I'm just going over here to hang out for a minute over in this one area where the bikes are at. He said, oh, you talking about over there behind this building? I said, yeah. That road over there. So, all right, cool. So they go over there and they do what the brothers do. The brothers go over there and they'll pull up where all the bikes is. They'll park in the parking space and they take their helmet off and just watch the other people knee drag. I did the same thing that day. I was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Let me go over here, chill, do what they got to do. I said, hey, man, I'm going to go out there and loop it one time. It's like, man, them dudes out there dragging, man. Like, this ain't no straightaway. I said, yeah, I'm just gonna, try it out or whatever. So I went out there, start dragging me. It was the look they had on their face, man. It was hilarious. I could see their mouth open, when I was approaching one corner. I could see them, looking like, God damn, what? Who, what? He never even told us he'd do this. He never told us this. He never told us that. So the cat was out the bag. Boom, boom. I did about maybe 8 rotations, man. On that tire, 8 rotations. Good stuff. I went back over there, man. It's almost like being a celebrity. Man, word went around. It was like, man, so-and-so, that dude, bro, he was out there knee dragging with the white boys. That's what they said. He was out there with the white boys knee dragging. I ain't never seen no brother knee dragging. You're the first brother I seen do that. I didn't know that it was a big deal. I didn't know. I just felt like, okay, this is something I know how to do. I did see mostly white riders knee dragging. I did. And to see the brothers act the way they act, they was like totally shocked. They was like, wow, you're the first black rider I ever seen in my life drag knee. So from base to base, this carried because I had my bike with me. It's carried. It only got bad when I got to Cali though, because Cali operate off a different set of rules. There's too many sets that was up in Cali. The roads was really nice, but there's too many sets. I used to roll up on these sets solo, dolo, and I used to run some races up here. And most of the time they gave me my money, but it was one time that it got a bit bad. They weren't gonna give me my money because they felt like I didn't tell them everything. I said, how? What is that? What sense does that make? Does somebody have to tell you you're starting at this point to get to that point, and whoever makes it past the finish line first wins? No, it's a race that you have to go from this point and the first man to make it back. That's the way it is. But we didn't know all that other stuff. And what I understand, you was out there dragging me. Obviously, you did this before. I say, so what? So, some things happen, bro. And it almost went really, really bad. Cali operate off different rules over there. It's best for you to be with a set. Yeah, I learned my lesson. You know what I'm saying? So I used to ride up in the canyons. I used to go up in the canyons and where I can ride dolo. And I started riding in the canyons. And you remember what I told you about the motorcycle safety? When people used to see me with the tinted visor and see me on my baby riding through the turns and stuff, it got back that, hey, so-and-so with the gray and black Gixxer, He can ride. We see him over there, and then people say, who is he with? We don't never see him with nobody. And then we try to call him. He never stopped. You damn right I ain't stopping, right? So it got to the point they got me, y'all. I was a higher rank. Look, I was a higher rank. And they came to me and said, hey, we got word that you really know how to ride a bike, this, that, and the other. And it's not no and bad stuff, but we really don't have a motorcycle safety instructor that know how to ride. We was wondering if you want to do it. You'll be really good, this, and this. So I decided to do it. So now we're in California. I didn't feel as bad because California is so big, I can pick and choose where I want to ride at. So I used to go out to these canyons, bro. It's blazing hot, man. And you barely even had to do a run through. You can just do a dry run, boom, and really hit it. The tires are sticking and everything, right? So I started being a motorcycle safety instructor and everything. It was cool until I ran in this unit, right? And I still see these faces, right? I still see these guys' faces. And I was trying to explain to them about the canyons. I was trying to explain to them about these little areas where motorcyclists go ride because the turns are stiff and all that. So at that point, we was losing a lot of military riders. I mean, I don't own Cali. They was going over here in Cali in the sunshine and everything. They was killing themselves. They was wrecking bad. And I remember talking to these guys. They was on the front row. And they was like, sir, want to know, can we plan a ride to go this place? I said, if I plan a ride, it's going to be a ride that is just straight in line from one point to another. He said, but you can't go take us for a ride. I say, how would I be taking you for a ride in an area that's considered dangerous, that you haven't really been trained? I can't train you for curves. I can't train you for that. I can plan a base ride with multiple units, and we can go from B and back to A. That's all I could do. But they wanted, because they see me out there. These guys, real talk, I know exactly who they were, what unit, because they had this certain thing on their bike. They supposed to be on some biker boys and stuff like that. So he was trying to deem what I should do or whatever. So it was one time where I was out there. I thought I was out there. Cool. Nobody. I thought I was Zorro that day. Nobody. Until I seen these headlights come. And I say, oh, how did they find their way over here? So boom, I was going from the top to the bottom, right? Boom, boom, turn around. And it got to the point I heard them calling. They popped the visor. Hey, so-and-so, G1 Officer White. So-and-so. I'll take off. Hit the first turn. And then I get to the top. I listen. Oh, I hear them coming up. So boom, pop the visor back down, go back down. So I'm going slower back down because I'm dealing with some novice riders, in my opinion. So they can come around these curves and lay it down if they make a mistake. So I'm going back down the turns, all nice and slow. And they take their hand, hey, trying to weigh me down. So I get to the bottom. I say, you know what? I'm going back to base. I don't know how they found out this spot, whatever. Boom. I leave. So I have another meeting, right? I have another meeting. Now, granted, during this one meeting that I was telling you that they were sitting on the front row, this guy tried to tell me that they needed to go on a safety ride, a safety course ride, and all this. What they really wanted to do is go into those areas so they can show out. That's what I felt they was going to try to do. They wanted to go with everybody else. And when they get to that point, they thought we was going to ride up and down the canyons and so they can show people how they can ride turns. Because they wasn't built for the turns. They wasn't ready. They wasn't experienced yet. So when I had that next meeting, the same group had a guy with them that was inexperienced with a newborn on deck and a wife. and they took him up there and told him to ride in the back, which is not what you do in a group where you have a novice and y'all are much more experienced. You have him ride in the middle, and you ride at a safe speed so you can keep a head count. They had him riding in the back. He goes into one of those curves, hit the brakes. They can see the foot peg scrapes going off and the road into the dirt, and they found him down the ravine dead. He had passed. And I found this out the next meeting. It was that unit. It was that group of guys. So, with that said, they can't stop military people from riding bikes. They can't do it. But they can make some changes. So we went through a whole deal. It was I'm just shortening up the experience, really, without getting in detail about it. But check this out. It's some people that I used to know back then, right? That called me up to try to recreate some of those some turns in the States in 4K to get some new video, because they said, well, once you know how to do it, and I always wanted to do this, right? Once you know how to do it, you can do it. But now you got videography. Back then, we didn't have, the high powered cameras where you can set the shutter speed to slow everything down. Them pictures that you see right here, this right here, this wasn't from a camera like I have right now that I'm taking pictures in boxing. That's not the type of camera. Okay. So they had got with me some people that knew me back then. They wanted to try to recreate some scenes into a video, because knee dragging, all you have to do is get flexible. For me, work on your flexibility, and it don't matter what bike I'm on. I've dragged everything from a 600cc to 700cc on up to 1,000, over 1,000. I've dragged 1,300. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing for me. But they wanted to get with me to pretty much try to recreate the scene. It's funny how they got in contact with me from looking at my Facebook pages, but they wanted to try to have me recreate some scenes, because I mentioned it to them. I say, man, I'd definitely like to get some video, but I don't ride anymore or nothing like that. But now they have the resources to try to make it happen. There's some very nice curves, plenty curves here in the US to try to get it on a regular roadway of you knee dragging. I'm saying, I don't need my own bike to do that. I can use any bike. Real talk, I can use just about any bike. It don't make a difference to drag me. But just to get it on video at this point in time would be amazing to me. It would be extremely amazing, to try to make this happen. But it was fun to hear, to have these individuals hit me up on social media talking about what happened, man, years ago. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 90s, or early 2000s and stuff like that. And talking about, how they still ride. We was talking about the old times and stuff like that. We was talking about who's died, who certain people that I didn't know who passed away on motorcycles. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But it was just a conversation where you had people from the past remember who you were and how they remember you. They was like, man, I never even knew another black man to drag me on the street like that. You was the only one I ever knew. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we used to talk about you all the time. So when I hear people talking about I couldn't get out of traffic, hey, I used to be at close to 200 miles per hour, dog. Dude, I used to ride it in the daytime and nighttime, bro. I used to go on some very dangerous missions, on these motorcycles. I used to make some runs and have these bets locked in and stuff. And people, they got a shock, they got a shock, man, because old girl was running. You know what I'm saying? Kevlar clutch, you know what I'm saying? Airbox modification, ECU, mods. Man, it was just so much. Always a full exhaust, of course. Whether it was Yoshimura, Akrapovic, any of that, man, it was just like I had my suspension set for the street. Now, every now and then, right? Um, every now and then I did play around with, wheeling and stuff like that. It wasn't too much per se because I didn't like messing up my front forks. I like to save my bike and preserve it for the curves. I didn't do too many wheelies, but I could stand up on it and walk it or whatever, and ride it out. But not so much. I wasn't there to be a stunt rider. I was there just to be the Zorro of the motorcycle scene. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, some people might hit me up, man, to try to do that. It'll be amazing if I can make this happen. To try to get some footage and what they have today, to try to get some new footage at my age, to try to make this happen. I don't know if it's going to, but it's not impossible. Once you know how to do it, you always gonna know how to do it. That's just the way it is. Once you know how to drag, you definitely gonna know how to drag. It ain't nothing but a thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but a thing. If you know how to do it back then, you'll know how to do it now. Period. And then, not to mention, the bikes are a whole lot more. The setup is a lot more user friendly to the rider, especially if you got some good height on you. I'm not saying you had to be extremely tall, right? But this guy right here that's behind me, he's on a 600, right? And this dude was like 6'3", 6'4". And he used to drag that little bike with ease. And I told him, I said, that beast will go around you in the corner now. I say, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, okay, I'm going to get a smaller frame bike and I'm going to be able to get to the turns quicker. I say, but, and then what a lot of people didn't understand is that it doesn't matter how big your engine is to be able to get through the turns quicker. It's all about how fast you can go through the turns. And you can only go through the turns so fast. You know what I'm saying? But if you're talking about a 600cc bike to 1100cc going through the turns, all I got to do is go get with the setup, be on your rear tire enough. But when you take that first dip, I'm accelerating, I'm going around you and keep on. I'm gonna power up out there and get ready for the next turn. And that's just what I did in this turn. We just went from the lower turn that you see. We just came out that turn, I passed him up, and we was heading to the hard left turn right here. And if you see this railing, this grader right here to the bottom left corner, that's where the motorcycles used to be parked at, watching motorcyclists race up and down this particular canyon. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely an art. It's definitely was one of those legendary moments that you didn't know that you was an anomaly. You was damn near one-on-one on doing this. I never knew that. Like, people used to say, man, we used to hear about you all the time. We never really saw you because you didn't ride with nobody. Most of the times people seeing you out on the street, you was by yourself with a tenant visor, and you never used to stop for people. You know what I'm saying? We thought you were stuck up and all that. No, I was just trying to, not be involved with military personnel, because like I said, if you with them and somebody crash and die, they blame you. They blame everybody. They blame everybody, bro. Let me get to these comments a little bit. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, some more. What's good? Q, what's good? Mr. Pat said, hey, WCS, stupid question, but how long do suits last? That's the motorcyclists wear. It depends on how often you go out, because those suits wear a lot of sweat. It according to what's the quality of your riding suit, if it's a full or if it's a top and bottom. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you can wear your jacket by itself, or you can wear your bottoms by themselves with a shirt. I always used to wear dirt bike shirts. If I didn't wear my top, I wear my leather bottoms with pucks and dirt bike shirts because I just like the way the dirt bike shirts, the long sleeve feel. I like the way they feel and how the airflow was with them. But if you get a full body, which in order for you to like take off anything, you can only can take off the top. Those hold a lot more sweat. Those get stretched out a lot more. And like I said, depending on who you had and what type of leather, you know what I'm saying, the quality of the stitching, they can last for quite some time. It depends on how frequent you go out to the street. You know what I'm saying? I heard Yamaha and Suzuki are the best brands. Look, I was a Suzuki person. Anybody and everybody knew I was a Suzuki dude. Zook. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was all about, the Zooks. But one of the smoothest riding motorcycles that even than mine, even than my Suzuki one, was a Yamaha. The way that motorcycle laid down in the turns, I say, oh my God, this baby is smooth. She's silky smooth. I love the way Yamaha sat in the curve, but I wasn't a Yamaha rider. I was a Zook. And that Yamaha rode very, very smooth in the turns, so much than the Zook that I had. But I never thought, I said, I don't want to be no Yamaha. I don't know. Because I've been on Suzukis where and we was riding out and we pull up out of, we have a straight, we pull up out our turn, pull up on the straight, man. I'll zoom right past a Yamaha, bro. Yeah, I had some modifications, but I'll pass right by Yamaha. Real talk. The Yamaha was smooth when it came to the gears. You know what I'm saying? As far as how it comes and allows you to get set up for the next turn. The Zook is a little bit jerky back then. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as smooth, especially when you start the downshift and prep to go in hot for another curve. The Yamaha was much more smoother, man. The Zook was a bit more active, but it all depends on the experience of the rider. Seriously. Don't Yakuza mostly roll with bikes? See, okay, the one thing about Yakuza, I'm not gonna lie, I did ride in some of the group that I rode, it was Yakuza members in there. And I'm not gonna go into detail on how I knew that, but I did meet some of those guys, right? But we weren't no people that was on friendly terms that I was conversing with. No, I knew of them. I was introduced to them, and I just kept my distance and like I supposed to, and that was that. But yeah, they around big time. They're around. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the traditional Yakuza, well, guess what? You can look at them and you can see it for yourself. And a lot of those guys didn't play, and for them to even speak to a motorcycle rider, American, it didn't matter if I was black or white. Just for them to be introduced, they spoke to me based off the strength of me riding in the group. People, I didn't even know who was that. I never really paid attention until I was introduced to certain people. That's why I said I could have stayed over in Japan and did well. I could have stayed over there and been great. Seriously, I was able to communicate. I can very well speak their language fluently at that time because I was around them so much. I was learning Tagalog and Japanese damn near at the same time. Dating Filipinos, you know what I'm saying? And riding with the Japanese on the bikes. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, to answer your question, I did have interaction with them. You know what I'm saying? Yakuza is the inner Japanese hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? The hierarchy inside, the Japanese or whatever. That's all I say on that. They're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I had my people hit me up and You know, it was amazing to hear from some of the people that was back then that kind of looked at you as a person that when your name came out, they was like, well, so and so is not going to ride with you. And then it was so much to the point where people could explain to the person. It was like, he's not going to ride with you because of this, this, and this, because he ride a whole lot faster, and he don't want his name being put out there as being one of the faster riders, and that's why so and so passed away, because they was trying to ride with you. That would happen, people. I'm telling you, back then, that would happen, and it did. It did. The brother that I denied and told him, no, man, I don't want to ride with you. You're too inexperienced. You're too inexperienced. I don't care what your wife, you know, you and your wife got a bike. I don't care about that. I don't care. You got kids, bro. I don't want you riding up here. God is my witness. He went riding that one time, people, that one freaking time. I told that brother before it was about to get wicked, I said, bro, calm down, chill. You are doing too much. You're not going to make it home. God is my witness, man. I told this brother, I said, this is why I didn't want to ride. You're taking these streets too lightly, bro. You're taking these streets too lightly, and you ain't gonna make it home. He made it up there to the resting stop, the turnaround point. And you know, he wanted to come over there. See, I told you I can make it over there. I said, brother, you have no idea. It gets worse on the way back because you all warmed up. You feel like you did something. And what he do? Crash. Look, it was so messed up because when I was up there, we was wheeling on the bridge. And I didn't hear no motorcycle. I already knew what happened. I said, something wrong. And then you heard the sirens in a distance. I said, oh, somebody crashed. And then I finally hear, I see these two bikes come up out. Hey, your boy crashed. What you mean my boy? The one you was talking about, the one on the green Kawasaki, he crashed. I say, how is he? So as I was going back, the ambulance passed me going the other way. He said, man, he crashed bad, man. He crashed really bad. And, you know, I mean, he's in a bad place right now. I say, like, who did he hit? He said, man, you know, we was all rolling this, that. Yeah, no leaders in the group. Now I got to go to the hospital and deal with his wife. By the time I got back to the rear, she was already up here. I already told you what happened. She tried to put that shit off on me. I said, I wasn't even there. I wasn't even in the group when he was riding. I told him not to ride. I ain't want to ride with him. You're not going to sit up here and question me. I told him to calm down on the way back so he can make it home to you and his family. He chose not to do. Well, if you would have been there, I said, no, he a grown man like I am. He a grown man like I am. It ain't because of me. I said, this is the exact reason why I told him no several times. They ain't want to ride because he's a knucklehead when it comes to this throttle. You got to respect the streets with the throttle, especially when it comes to the turns. And this dude almost lost his life. And I know to this day, he still deals with pain from that accident. I know it. I know he does. He almost got kicked out. He almost lost his career because of one stupid ride, not paying attention and trying to prove something to whoever he wasn't proving to me. Because I told him straight up, I said, man, take your time. Look, when I rolled up there behind them dudes, I was so far behind them that I was basically, you know, looking out for the riders who was novice. And I was back there chilling with them. Making sure they was getting around on turns good, not slamming on the brakes hard because they was nervous. You know what I'm saying? But when this dude wrecked and he was in the hospital as long as he was, and somebody from his command hit me up, I said, I wasn't there. I can't tell you how far. They try to come up here and say, well, we're going to need you to come over to the unit I said, you ain't going to need me to do nothing. Matter of fact, you ain't end up talking to my attorney. Oh, it's not like that. We just wanted you to try to, you know, give us a better idea on what really happened. Cause you know, this could be career changing for him. I said, listen, I can bring you two guys that was with me when we was all the way up front. I didn't have anything to do with his accident. I wasn't even with the group. And once those guys spoke up, that's another reason that it just verified to me that I was doing good what I was doing, not riding with these novice riders. The decision was worth it. I never really spoke, like I think I only spoke to that dude once after that. And I was like, if you got an attitude with me about your mistake, I think he felt more guilty about knowing that I did tell him to chill and he didn't, and he ended up losing his life. Now, as a rider, I think he's much more smarter, but from my understanding, him and his wife still ride bikes. They into, if he has a bike, she got to have a bike. I spoke to him in a minute, but anyway, back to the street life. Dragging turns is one of the most calming moments that you can have, especially when you get in it and you get to that moment where you do get tunnel vision and you do slow down and you can't hear your motorcycle. You can only feel that you're holding on to the bike and you're going through the gears, throttle, pop, 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 boom, exhaust, going into the entry, exit, setting up for turn after turn after turn. It's an amazing feeling, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was riding so fast to the point where I got to that adrenaline where the turns was coming in much slower for me psychologically, but I was going at a high rate of speed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a beautiful feeling, real talk, especially when your knee touched down and you're riding and you're basically leaning your head, you're looking through the turn and cars are coming towards you and you're dragging knee. You're like, and you on the throttle and the turn's about to end. You drop that down and clutch, you wheelie up out that turn. You pop that front wheel off that turn, and drop it, get ready for the next turn, drop it a gear, tap, go in hot. Most of the time, you ain't switching gears in the turn. You ride it all the way out. The turns are not that long. So you drop it down a gear, you throttle out through the turn. That's enough power for you to take it out through that turn. You know what I'm saying? And if it's too much, you'll find out that if you let off the throttle too fast in the turn, your bike will immediately stand up and it could be crucial for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you gotta either, you gotta stay in it, ease off the throttle a little bit so that bike wouldn't stand up. Because one thing about knee dragging, it's the momentum of the bike that's going to allow you to lay over that knee to touch, make contact, and you stay on that throttle and drag that puck. And then you come up for the exit. You can throw it down a gear, throttle out that joint, however you feel, man. It's cool. It's cool, bro. I was in the first class of riders in Rhode Island who had to take a road test to get a license. Before that, they gave you one as long as you had a bike registered to you. It was a show. Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, Bruce, riding has changed so much, man. Like, especially on base, riding has changed so much because on base, they always trying to come up with rules. And they think the rules for motorcycles are going to save lives. It's not. It's not going to save lives because guess what? It's going to be military personnel that purchase motorcycles. You can't stop them from purchasing a motorcycle. It's like, oh, you can only get this specific type car. You can't stop them from getting bikes, especially in the U.S. So what they'll do, they'll purchase a bike and they won't drive it on base. They'll have a motorcycle and they'll keep it off base. And when they get home, they'll ride off base. They'll never ride it on base to the job and nothing like that. That's how they remedy that. And you won't hear about them until the message come over the blog. So-and-so was killed on I-15, speeding. We had a Marine who was trying to get from base back to home. And we're talking about he had been drinking and he was trying to make up time because he was sleepy. So he's heading down I-15 and he runs into the back of an 18-wheeler and his helmet gets stuck in the back of the 18-wheeler. The truck for a minute didn't know the guy had hit in the back of his freaking rig, and he was still driving for a little bit until somebody told him, say, hey, you need to pull over. Somebody hit you in the back. And this particular rider was stuck in the back. He was dead. He was stuck in the back. He hit it so hard. You know what I'm saying? I got, man, there's so many stories, but I don't like talking about death when it comes to bikes. It's just that I didn't fear it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the worst accident I had, like I told my listeners before, is when I was doing a stand-up wheelie and I was with the fam. And I came down and somehow my bike got swirly. It went into a tank slapper. And I was like, what is this about? Like, my bike is set up. How can it go into a tank slapper? My suspension is good. But come to find out, it was just the grooves in the road and the speed that I was going. Right? I brought it down and started shimmering. And a turn comes up. I said, all right, cool. I got to take this into a turn. I set up and I look through the turn. I see this truck, this white truck. And I hit both brakes, the front and the rear at the same time to slow it down. That's how I know you can slow down. That's the safety measures. That's what they teach you on the track, all that, right? Before I know it, I'm flipping. I said, oh, this is going to be bad. I came off the bike. It kicked me off. It bucked me off. Everything's going in slow motion. The bike slams up against the curve. I'm flipping. All I know is, man, this is about to be bad with the truck. I'm laying face down, knocked out. And, I'm being pushed. Say, hey. I wake up. But during that moment where I was unconscious, I always tell people that the light was starting to come in, right? I started seeing this light come in. This bright light, and I couldn't hear anything else. I couldn't hear the chaos or anything. So all I'm thinking, I'm just in this state of unconsciousness, and I see this light coming in, this bright light starts slowly coming in, and then I wake, by the X pushing on me. So I wake up. I say, oh man. So I said, oh man, where the bike at? My bike was right there in the street. I said, oh my God, it's total. It's done. So I say, where the truck at? It's no truck. I guess I was the only one to see it because I was going around the turn first. But when I crashed, the truck, I knew it was a truck right there from what I understood, but it wasn't there. I thought for sure the bike was going to hit the truck. I thought I was going to hit the truck, but the truck wasn't there. No way even close. It was just me, fam, and the bike. So I got up. I had a big bubble right up under my stomach, a big bubble where where I hit the handlebars, and then it kind of damaged my right side of my groin. Not my groin, but the stomach area right there. It damaged it. Mad road rash. The inside of my thighs was all bruised up from, when you get ready to crash, you grip the gas tank with your legs without knowing it, and you try to brace for the impact. It was bad. It took me a while to recover, but that's the worst accident I had. Seriously. And that wasn't even from riding with nobody. It was from me picking up a pretty good amount of speed doing a wheelie and coming down on a road that had grooves in it. So when I came down on that road, somehow it sent the bike into a tank slapper and I ended up crashing. But besides everything else with death, I really don't like telling people about the death. The people that I knew that died on bikes from a lack of experience, because everybody adrenaline level is they would never have it. They will always ride a bike somewhat the same way. They will never overextend their risk because they're afraid of what would happen. I didn't. I used to ride at night, and even at night, the turns used to come up slow to me. That's how comfortable I got with the turns. The turns that used to come up, it was just like, You know, if you're going through a GPS and you're just driving slow, the turns used to come up. I used to see my headlight at night because I had special lights that can extend out. I had the LEDs in there for at night, and I used to put them brights on. I used to roll, and them turns used to come up nice and slow, and all I could see is a turn. I could barely hear my bike. I used to ride all the way up north sometime. We're talking about this is a long ride for nighttime now. I ain't gonna lie, I had some moments where if I would have went off the road at nighttime, they wouldn't have found me. They wouldn't have found me to several days later. For real. I used to take the ride sometime with my guy that I showed you. But when he had deployments, this white guy right here on the K14, when he had deployments, I still go back to the normal schedule, whatever. I still go back to the normal schedule. But this beast right here, man, it was good to go. I ain't gonna lie. You know, motorcycles, they ain't for everybody. But my baby, I had a setup. I love those moments. I don't miss them because they're very dangerous, especially when you're so used to your bike. You know, they're you can get very, very comfortable with going out in extreme conditions. I had more people tell me, like, it's a guy that I used to roll with that I've known for a long time. And I thought me and him was quite cool, but he started to talk a little bit of ish about me when it came to bikes, and come to find out, you know, he got a Suzuki. He started trying to fix up his bike like mine. And some people was telling me like, hey man, so-and-so saying he's gonna race you and stuff like that. I say, him? Do he? I didn't even know he even ride. He ride? Okay. So, you know, when it got down to him finally, you know, getting enough cojones, he said, hey man, I wanna go riding with you. I say, no, I heard you want to run me. He said, no, man, I was just playing, you know, this, that, and the other. But I think if I ride with somebody who got this type of skill level, I can build on it. I said, no, you say you want to run me. So in my mindset, you want to go out here and compete. I just want to learn how to ride curves like you do, man. I said, listen, we can go out for a short ride, and I can take you, if you can make it past these 5 curves. But the only thing I'm asking you, don't roll on the throttle until I give you the signal, and please take it easy doing these curves. So what I did, once again, I rode behind him until we got to the first curve. I pulled up aside and said, listen, follow me and, you know, chill. I didn't tell him what speed I was going because I never rode with him. So I'm taking it easy through the turns, and I'm giving him a little bit of class A. I'll take him through the 5. I say, hey, how you like that? He said, man, that was easy, man. You know what I'm saying? That was easy. I said, okay, boom. I take him back through those same curves. And I hear him on my back. I'm really going super slow. Like I'm going slow. I'm still going in with my entry format, but I'm going in quite slow just to get him warmed up. And then I stop. I say, how did that feel to you? And at this point, man, he got the biggest smile. He said, yeah, man, that feels good, man. I'm getting lower and lower every time. Which I knew he was BSing, because the slower the speed, your bike is not going to lay down like silk sheets. And they're not going to lay down, brother. They're not going to lay down like an envelope. Not going slow. So I say, let me do this about a couple more times. Make sure his tires are warmed up, and then I'm gonna get him a reality about this. What I've been hearing with other people talking about, you know, racing and all that. So pretty much, you know, we went back and forth. His confidence, you know, he broke a sweat. He's warmed up and stuff like that. And I can see. I said, so what you think about the speed and everything, bro? Everything that you heard? He say, yeah, man. You know, each time it seems like, you know, I'm getting better and better and better. I thought it was much more difficult than this. You know, from what I heard, that's all you had to say, brother. That's all you had to say. I thought it was a bit more difficult than what I heard. I say, I know you heard people say this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. You got comfortable too quick. So I say, listen, you're comfortable with this curve speed. Drive at your own pace. You understand? Ride at your own pace, brother. This time, I'm pick up the speed a little bit. Oh, you gonna go faster than what I say? Yeah, I'm gonna pick up the speed. I'm gonna take it to the speed that I go. You understand? Don't try to follow me if you can't. Okay. If you're able to, do it safely. That's the only way I can tell you. You got it? Then at the last minute, I changed my mind. I say, you know what? Let me follow you. So I followed him through it, and I was looking at all his mistakes. He's on the brake heavy on the entry. He's not accelerating through the turn. I said, okay, boom. I went through him twice. I gave it to him. I'm learning. I'm saying, okay, man, you really getting through the curves effectively. Real talk. You really get through the turn safely. He said, yeah, man, I'm feeling good right now. So I said, this time, the next couple of times, we're going to go through all 5 of them, and then we're going to come back. You ready? Took off. Man. When I watch, when it hot, and I'm not even looking back. I know he ain't on me. Got in, got out. Got in, got out. Got in, got out. Turn around loop, shut it down. I'm hearing his engine. This dude came around. I didn't even give him a chance to talk. He looped around. He popped up his visor. I took off on him. Boom. Got up out of there. I'm going back. I say we was going to do 2 and back, right? Got in. Boom. Left him. Went through. Pulled off on the side of the road. I see him pull up. He took off his helmet when he finally got there. He said, oh, man. Bro, I apologize because I know what you just did. I said, no, I didn't do anything. I was just showing you that there's levels to this riding. There's levels to it. He said, man, I never thought you would go that fast and leave me. I even told somebody that I don't think I'm pretty sure. Like I gathered my confidence up when we did those run-throughs. I gathered my confidence. I really thought that was about it. He said, well, the one thing that got me when you went into that first curve, I didn't see you drag when you was with me, when you was taking me through the turn. I didn't see, but when you say you was going to take off and you was going to give me your speed, when I saw you lay it down, I was more focused on your, what I was looking at and your knee bend and how fast you disappeared. I was in shock. I was like, it's no way. I've never seen a black man do that. There's no way. Like, how are you running through the curve that fast? He said, bro, every time I came out of a curve, I was looking to see you. I didn't see you. Then when I saw you there with your bike, with your visor up, I felt embarrassed. And then, you remember when I told you he looped around and popped the visor up because he was about to speak? I said, no, boom, took off on him. He said, when you took off on him, I said, all right, cool, boom. He tried to ride with me. He said, I didn't see you again. All I saw was you hit the first turn, your knee went down, boom, gone, disappeared again. He said, you disappeared so quick, I didn't even hear your engine. He said, man, I apologize, bro. It's levels to this. It's levels to this. And every time I saw him, man, the time we was talking, he always used to bring that up. I had to tell him to stop telling people the service riders about that situation, because like I said, they tell the wrong people and then they try to shut you down like you're doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was great times, man. But we're gonna try to recreate this. I'm not too on board with it because I don't like riding in someone else's bike without the setup. My bike, I knew what tires I had on it. I knew what suspension setup. It was adjusted to my weight and height. I ran Olin suspension, front and rear on that. I love Olin's, man. I had aftermarket peg setups adjusted to my height. I had custom forks. I even had the adjustment on the custom forks, man. I had the adjustment in the front. Man, I had everything set up for street. to ride curves. I loved it. You know, I thank God for allowing me to go through that moment. But if by chance I can, do it now, which I know I can still drag knee. Now, I mean, I know I can still get out on the bike right now. It ain't nothing but the thing. I know I could, but it all depends, man. But I eventually want to learn how to ride my pops road. This day and time, a lot of things have changed to the street bikes, to the cruisers. A lot of cats are fixing up the cruisers, which I love, man. They putting the big rims on there. They sit upright and they just cruise on them bad boy. They got sounds, they got systems on there. Man, they putting 15, 20 racks in bikes. Easy. I mean, they got custom rims set up. They dropping them. They got airbags on some of these bikes. And some of them got a little custom work to the engine too. They get up off, they get up off you now. You know what I'm saying? They roll back on the throttle. They get up out of there now. A lot of custom work done to these heavier bikes. They go on longer rides this day and time. I'm not saying that the bike crew doesn't exist. I know they still exist in Cali. I don't see too much of the bike scene over here on the highways. Like every now and then I see one or two guys riding high speed. I don't know if they still alive, because just over here in the A, these drivers don't respect bikers, man. They see your headlights coming around on this highway, and they'll wait you get up on it, and they'll freaking put their blinker on and turn in front of you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You think about Paul Williams, who wrecked down here in Georgia. I mean, Diego Corrales. I mean, the bike scene is dangerous, bro. I never thought about dying on a bike. When I had my accident, I couldn't wait to get back on it. But if you're down here in the A, I wouldn't suggest people getting a cross rock and think you're going to go out here on these highways and speed. No, you can find a country road. Make sure you do a run through, because that roadkill have you in the dirt. The crazy part about it, I tell people, I say, if you go out on these roads and you want to practice just on the straightaway or whatever the case, get used to your bike, right? You better do a run through first, because you on the country road and it's roadkill out there, and you hit that roadkill, that animal is already dead, and you and him can join each other just off the strength of you running over that and it getting on your tire and causing you to lose control of your bike and run off the road into a tree. Yeah, you can die. An animal that's already dead can kill you. Real talk. That's just crazy, ain't it? That's just crazy. And also, you have the live ones where the deers, they'll come out and they'll take their time, and they'll look at you. You run into a deer, you coming off that bike. You're gonna F the deer up, but you're coming off that bike. Unless that deer is jumping across the road and you avoid it. You know what I'm saying? But that's it. Real talk. But man, that's all I wanted to talk about with the bike scene, because I just had a conversation with some people I haven't talked to in a minute. Well, some of them. It was one that I do talk to on a regular basis, that they ask me about their kids, riding bikes. And I always tell them, get them a dirt bike. Get them a dirt bike first, have them get used to that, have them learn how to wheelie a dirt bike. A dirt bike you can drop, pick it back up, drop it again, pick it back up, and it's much more durable than putting them on anything else. Get them used to the gears on the dirt bike. And then by the time, if they choose to get on a street bike, at least they have the confidence. They have the basic safety measures down with operating the throttle and the clutch and everything. So, yeah, man. Good times. I miss those days. Knee dragging ain't for everybody, but it was for me, shawty. Yes, sir. Shout out to the corners. I miss you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the corners in the day and night. The day and night, them turns, man. Fun times. But those of you that pulled up, man, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. I just thought I'd come on here and talk about that street moto. I did a live previously about the Isles of Men. I said, I wish I can ride that. You know, I wish I can. I don't want to be in the race because them dudes are just bananas, bro. But I just want to take that ride, the full course. I would definitely like to take that ride, the full course, man. Just to have that riding through a city, you know, a residential area like that in the Isles of Man at that speed with walls and everything on the side. That would be amazing. That would just be, oh man, the adrenaline to ride that course with the dips and the turns and the speed that you can pick up on the straights. Oh my God, dog. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Now, in my 50s, my reaction will be a little slow. I have to really get used to it. I have to get back the seat time. I had to put the seat time in. Real talk, I had to put the seat time in and get used. I just couldn't do one dry run and say, you know, I'm ready. No, I have to goddamn put some seat time in. You know, get used to it, get acclimated to the bike I'm on, and be able to experience that run. The Isles of Man, I love watching that. The Isles of Man, oh my God, dog, unbelievable, unbelievable, man. That's what I would like to get on video. You know what I'm saying? That if I had the opportunity to run the Isles of Men, no doubt about it, I would like to get that on video. If I felt comfortable being that I could run through there safely and my vision is good, my reaction is good, you know, going moderate speed through there and then picking it up from there. Yeah, I definitely like to get that on video, dog. Shout out to the Outlaw Pugilist. R1, no doubt, man. Shout out to the Yamaha group, man. Shout out to the Yamaha group. I was telling them earlier, R1s was some of the smoothest that I've rolled in the curves, man. But overall, as a bike, as far as my tuning goes and all that, I'll stay with the Zook. I was absolutely a Zook. I'm absolutely Zook to the core. You know what I'm saying? I love, you know, coming up to the carburetor days, through the fuel injections, learning how to then map my own bike, learning how to work on that. Even with the carbs, man, learning how to change carburetors and adjust the setting on the jets from the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, learning how to, you know, test it to see if it was running too lean or too rich. Yeah, man. Yeah, dog. That bike right there that you see, that was a carbureted bike. Yeah, that was a carbureted bike. No doubt about it. That was a carbureted bike. For sure. That was a carbureted bike right there. And if you look closely, if you can see, I don't have the bottom fairings on there because it keeps the bike cooler without the bottom fairings when you're running. And sometimes you dragging. If you lower the rear suspension, you will drag your bottom fairing. So I used to, when I know I was rolling out, I used to just remove the bottom fairing, and so I wouldn't damage it. And plus, it keeps the bike cooler too. Unless you was gonna upgrade your cooling system, upgrade the hoses and everything, which I did. You know what I'm saying? But still, you want your bike to be as cool as possible during that heat, especially you running up and down and all that. Carburetor bikes are raw and way more fun to ride. Yeah, man, I love carburation, bro. But I like fuel injection even more. You know what I'm saying? The response time on fuel injection is just amazing. The technology that they have, you know, you popping up your PC and you're able to load these maps or whatever to your bike and just be able to, you know, program it to what you want. Oh man, amazing. Fuel injection, no doubt about it. Now, carburation, if you understand how to basically build up and tune carburation, good for you. Kudos to you. But this is not easy. You have to really know what you're doing. It was fun when it was happening, bro. It was absolutely fun while it was happening. But shout out to the fallen bike riders especially the ones that I witness. You know what I'm saying? Especially the ones I witness, man. Shout out to y'all. You know, um, it's definitely unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have had interaction with some of these guys. You had interaction with some of these guys, and then you get the word that they lost their life, and you want to know how. And come to find out it was on a motorcycle. And then you say to yourself, like, man, I actually spoke to that person. Some of these people came up to you and say, man, I heard a lot about you, this, that, and the other. I'm trying to learn how. And I always used to tell them the same thing: be careful, because the curves don't show no mercy. Be careful trying to get a picture, dog. Look, when this picture right here, y'all might not think too much of it. When this picture came, right, my boy took this picture, right, and he was mad because he couldn't get a picture like that. The moment, he wasn't mad that I got a picture like that. He said he always wanted a picture like this because it kind of tells a story, you know what I'm saying, of dragging turns, man. Turn dragging. And I don't even have an upper protective jacket on doing this. I'm short sleeved on this. And this, back in the day, you're talking about the 90s, right? This picture right here for a black man on a bike like this went viral. Like, really, like, we're talking about no social media at that time. Like, just based off a picture. And somebody saying, no, that ain't you, man. No, we used to seeing you out there running and shooting hoop. Whole different genre of people until they got to know you as a motorcycle rider. And when this picture was taken right here, back in the 90s, they was like, bro, you riding like that through the curve? You're dragging like that? It was so, look, they were so uneducated. They was like, how are you dragging your knee? What is protecting your knee? They didn't know anything about pucks until they might see you, right? They might see you, right, with this, and they see your puck, them Alpine Star pucks, and they see how scratched up it is, and they say, oh, man, so-and-so legit. So-and-so legit. Real talk. So-and-so legit. He dragging and everything. Okay, I got you. But, man, I'm not going to hold y'all, man. Thanks for the opportunity. It's been cool reflecting, but I'll let y'all know. It's not going to be anything soon, but definitely it's a possibility. But I'll see if we can get some stuff in 4K and make some pop. But always remember, motorcycle riders, just like myself, that's been through situations. The adrenaline is different. The adrenaline junkie, so to speak, is different. Riding a motorcycle is quite different in life. It teaches you many ways on how to drive a car. Real talk. Driving a car, it has its moment different, but riding a motorcycle on two wheels, no protection, no seatbelt, high speed, yeah, it's different, bro. It's a different type of adrenaline that you experience. Real talk. Well, man, y'all hold this down, man. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. We shall do it again. Talk some boxing. You already know. Let me see. Am I forgetting something? Am I forgetting something? Let me see. Am I forgetting something? I know it's something else that I want to say. But yeah, we'll chop it up later. I'm out.